Hello, hello. This is Portland Stew here with Rose City Sorcery, commentating a recent constructed event hosted. I believe this is at Portland Game Store or Fab Foundry. I'm not sure. A recent constructed event in the Portland area. This is a game between Ben up on top in the Deathspeaker and Griff on the bottom playing Avatar of Air. Griff has been around for a long time in the local area, a formidable force in our scene, and Ben's a relatively new up-and-coming player who's been playing a bunch lately and really great guy. I love playing with both of these folks. Ben started off with I forget what the site's called. It's an Earth site that lets you look at your top 5 spells and choose one to discard. Great for Deathspeaker. It looks like Griff hit a windmill on the start. Ben and the Deathspeaker going first. So yeah, this is really excited. This is my first time commentating Constructed since the advent of Gothic. I happen to know both of these decks pretty well at this point. So Griff is running a very classic Earth Air Avatar of Air. You see him dropping the mountain peaks and the kettle top leprechaun after Ben plays out a Gnome Hollows. Ben's Deathspeaker list, running the Cemetery Rats. These Cemetery Rats, there's some crazy lists out there with these Cemetery Rats right now. So good for Deathspeaker, so good for Archie. I mean, I think both Archie and Deathspeaker are going to be dominant top-level avatars in this new age. So gets the Cemetery Rats, add a Earthquake, loses his Earthquake, but does get to put a Grandmaster Wizard in his graveyard. So he's got 2 great graveyard cards now. In the Grandmaster Wizard and the Sisters of Avalon, and then he gets a Foot Soldier. Griff, on the other hand, starts his turn by first drawing a card and then using his Avatar of Air ability to throw the kettle top and then attack with it. I think Ben's debating whether or not to block. Looks like he didn't block. Takes the 2 damage. So now, Griff's gonna throw out a Valley of Delight, calls Earth, and so Griff's on 2 Earth, 3 Air threshold, and so far the board state's pretty even. Ben's Deathspeaker, to go back to these decks, I said it's a little gimmicky because he's running the zombie, the 4-mana 2-power zombie that like resummons itself every time a mortal dies, and really leaning into that mechanic. He's trying to get the Scourge zombie into his graveyard early in the game, so that's a big part of what that deck's going to try and do, and I'm intrigued to see if he manages to hit it. Meanwhile, Griff just did 2 with the kettle top. And now he's debating, I overheard him asking sights in hand. So I suspect, I don't know what he's considering playing. The Avatar of Air deck is kind of just a beatdown deck. Like, it's got a lot of sort of high value minions, gets the crazy motion, and then all the classic grapple shot, whirling blade type things. So looks like Griff passed turn. After that, no spells played. Interesting. So Ben starting his turn. And I can't really tell what's in his hand. If I had to guess, he's considering whether to play out. Ooh, the Wormelo Tump. It is now active. So we can see that Ben's got air in the deck, but has not yet hit an air threshold. So he's at 4 earth threshold, so that's going to be an issue, I suspect. Hits for 1 with a foot soldier, really cool foot soldier art. I know you picked that up from one of the artists at Vegas SCG Con. I forget which artist that is. So maybe Margaret. In any case, he plays out Crown Prince. I feel like I don't see Crown Prince that often, even though it's a really solid card. And Crown Prince plays right into that Scourge Zombie combo that Ben's trying to hit, where the Crown Prince will keep returning to hand and the Scourge Zombie will keep coming out. So he's playing lots of mortals. Griff looks like he drew a spell for turn. Oh, he didn't draw yet. That's what's happening. And he declared his attack with the Kettle Top first. Sam warned me that this game might get a little confusing, so I gotta pay close attention and see if I can call it as it happens. So they're debating whether or not the sight or spell was drawn. Yeah, he drew a spell, so now he's deciding if he blocks, he gives Griff the sight to play. And yeah, Ben, I'm sure, is debating whether he wants to give Griff the tempo of another sight and stop taking chip damage or not. I think he decides to just take the 2 damage. So Griff hits the brows thanks to Mountain Peaks and Windmill. Gets to look at the top 7 cards and pick one and put the rest on the bottom, I believe in an order of his choice. Yeah, so brows, great card. Griff didn't untap his avatar, but the Avatar of Air is untapped. Drops another Kettle Top, entertaining. Yeah, so now he untaps and taps, gets a sight. And is he going to fly the Kettle Top forward? Looks like no. So Ben draws a spell for turn, taps for sight. I caught a glimpse of his hand. Looks like he's got a couple Shield Maidens and a holy ground. So that's, he tapped for the sight to get the holy ground. So he'll get that healing next turn. The Shield Maidens. I mean, this is, yeah, Ben's deck just turtles and gains card advantage. But Griff's deck can really put the beat down on, so I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. Ben hits for another 1 with the Foot Soldier and just creeps forward with the Cemetery Rats. And then, let's see. Yep, here comes a Shield Maiden. Oh, he second guesses it. Oh, he hasn't attacked with the Foot Soldier yet? So I think they just got a little confused, because Griff has taken damage from the Foot Soldier already on our little life counter here, but the Foot Soldier just got untapped. Oh, and they just realized that the Crown Prince was played illegally. So they're just deciding how to litigate it. And so they just sort of, yeah, these are both super chill dudes. They just sort of talked about what they would have done if they had noticed that, and Griff sort of said, oh, well, I would have kept the Kettle Top on the Gnome Hollows. Yeah. Yeah. So they've adjusted the board state. They think are off on the life totals by one. If you look at the phone's way off on the life totals. Griff has taken 1 damage. So he puts the spider under the gnome hollows now instead of dropping the shield maiden. And yeah, Ben's apologizing and Griff's saying it's okay, no worries. So yeah, we're in a fun game state already, I can tell. I think the actual life total is 19 to 16 if that foot soldier is untapped like it appears to be. So we'll see what Griff plays next. The Avatar of Air probably has all the threshold it needs for any card in the deck at this point. I mean, maybe he's running the Gargantulas, which would need 1 more Earth threshold. And I guess he might have some of the Archangels are the only ones that I think would be a trouble for the threshold at this point. Yeah. So he flies the Kettle Top over to attempt to attack the foot soldier. The Prince blocks, so that gets him a sight draw. He hasn't taken the sight. Oh, he taps to move. Oh, nice. Okay. Let's see if they call. So Griff just asked Ben if the Prince will return to hand when he magic missiles, but because he hits the foot soldier first, foot soldier dies first, and then Prince dies. Yeah, remembers to draw his sight now. And yeah, that's a little bit of hit to the tempo. And so yeah. Okay, so they've agreed on its 18 to 16. I think that foot soldier was just untapped incorrectly, and they actually counted it as having hit twice. So I think we're back to stable life totals, and I'm sure the game from here will be simple and straightforward. There's the Holy Ground, puts Deathspeaker back up to 19. That Kettle Top should be untapped, I believe, but so should the Cemetery Rats. There's a lot to track in this game. And so, looks like maybe the Shield Maidens will come out now. Well, he comes up, attacks for 1. That's an interesting choice. The Cemetery Rats already did their job. But now they'll be easy pickings for the Avatar of Air. I would have been tempted to maybe keep them around as underground sleeper cells. So he plays the Shield Maidens super far back. I'm a little intrigued by that. Common sense. Let's see what he pulls. My money is on... Oh, he's probably going after that Scourge Zombie. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now he's going to start the combo. So once he hits an air threshold, he'll be able to sisters the zombie into his graveyard and then start hitting the zombie resummon whenever an allied mortal dies on land. So see how many mortals you can make die. Definitely makes sense why we're seeing the villages in there too. Let's see if I can pull up the name of that Earth site. So, oh man, Avatar of Air plays an Updraft Ridge, hitting 4 air threshold. to Earth. And Updraft Ridge and Avatar of Air means lots of mobility. Flies over to the Pudge, and yeah, that's what he wants to do. Common sensing for the... I would be sorely tempted to not burn my common sense on trying to get a Scourge zombie into the graveyard, just for things like this, to be able to common sense for a berry. But he knows his deck. I'm sure he wants to just get the theme of the deck online. That first I played is Forgotten Tomb too, for those of you following along at home. That was the one that lets you look at the top 5 and pick one to discard. That was a sight for turn. Oh, and he hits his Precious Air threshold. So that is, I think, really good. This should be able to activate the deck. Plays out the Observatory. So now he's got the threshold for the Sisters. Yeah, plays the Observatory back to narrow the routes for the Avatar of Air, which I think is generally wise. And so they're both discussing the haystacks threat that, and like the two of them are discussing, like, that they feel like they're not seeing a lot of haystacks around because there's so little common sense. Attacks with the Cemetery Rats. Bring in the Avatar. So he just double checked his observatory order because he said he wasn't sure. There's a silver onto the root spider. I have no idea what he might try and do with that. Yeah, there we go. This is what we were expecting. So he takes back the silver bullet. Deathspeakers, the Sisters of Avalon, to discard his Scourge Zombies and draw a card. So really just a dream play for the deck's sort of central functionality. And he's got a couple minions lined up to block the Pudge from being able to snag the Avatar. It's a Land Surveyor to get a sight, and then drops the silver bullet on the spider. I'm really excited to see what he's going to silver bullet for with the spider. And now he drew a Perilous Bridge, which will hit his second air threshold, and he'll be able to Grandmaster Wizard next turn, barring any cemetery hate from Griff. So that's a pretty good setup for Ben there. But Griff's got a Pudge on the board now, and that's never good when you're the player who doesn't have Pudge. Let's see what he tries to do. If he flies the Pudge onto the mountain pass, it's susceptible to Root Spider. So he drops the Glastonbury Tor, my favorite of the tri-sites. Just flies the Pudge over to the windmill and takes out the Cemetery Rat with it. He'll actually be able to kill his own Kettletop if he wants eventually. The Kettletop should have untapped a while ago, but it's disabled, so I think they're both kind of just ignoring it. And yeah, don't trust the life totals on the phone. Look at the bottom of your screen. And Sir Percival! Wow, that's an interesting placement for Sir Percival. He's not going to be able to be thrown from there, but... So he plays the Sir Percival, and Ben names Gnome Hollows as the site. Sir Percival has the ability, when you play him, your opponent gets to choose a site, and if Sir Percival gets to that site, Sir Percival's owner draws a spell, and you get to pick a new site for his new questing location. So Gnome Hollows, there should be no way for Percival to be able to enter Gnome Hollows in this deck. So I think that effectively shuts off that ability for Sir Percival. But he's still a beefy minion at a good rate. 4 mana for a 4 attack, 5 defense minion. Ain't too shabby. So still a big threat on the board. Now Griff's got the Pudge and the Percival. Meanwhile, Ben's deck is starting to pick up speed. He steps forward with the Land Surveyor to get more in the way of the Pudge and not being able to hit the Avatar. I mean, if Griff has the usual Rolling Boulder that goes in most of these decks, he may well be able to Rolling Boulder to clear the runway for Pudge, though then Pudge wouldn't be able to grapple that turn. What? Okay, yeah, and then Ben just used his 6 mana to okay, so Ben just cheated a little, accidentally of course, but he just Deathspeakered 2 different minions out of his bin in 1 turn, and Deathspeaker is just 1 per turn. But it seems like they're letting it run. It's nothing too crazy, really, but he did get the 3 cards off the Grandmaster. But yeah, this is going to be tough for Ben now. There comes 4. Yeah, Pudges the Kettle Top to get the sight draw. Or no, he's not going to take the sight draw off it. I'm a little surprised by that, because he could have the Pudge fight the Kettle Top. I guess he wants bodies on the board. Makes some sense. And hits the Legion of Gaul. So now we get to take a look at that. Taps for sight. And now he's going to pick Legion of Gaul, 5 mana, 5 power, airborne. Banish 3 cards from your opponent's collection. He's running a Desecrate in there. Oh my gosh, this is a really interesting collection. He's got a Whirling Blades in there. I mean, this is... So, I think this is a hard choice. Whirling Blades seems like an obvious candidate, but there's nothing that big that's hit the board yet. Cast into Exile, yeah, that's more or less hard removal. So he's taking the Cast into Exile. Cast into Exile is 2 mana to shuffle target minion occupying an allied site into its owner's hand. So it's hard removal, but it just shuffles it back in the deck, and it's got to be on your sites. Dapple Vampire, just a big minion, good to get out of there. And then he takes the Worrywart. Now they're talking about the House Arn Bannerman as another good candidate, but House Arn Bannerman gives all your nearby allies +1 power, so that's a nice little, especially when you're swarming the board. So, yeah, this is such a friendly game. They're talking about their deck ticks, and Ben sort of sharing some of his favorite moves with the Silver Bullet. He moves the Root Spider. Still doesn't have coverage for that Perilous Bridge, but I mean, he can block, and if he does block, he'll get a Scourge Zombie. He can start getting sort of that 2 blockers for every block phenomenon going. Oh yeah, and Legion of Gaul is on the updraft ridge, so it does get that extra range. So Ben, plays this. So he's also running the Bone Rabble. So he uses the Sister of Silence to bin a Bone Rabble, which whenever you play an Earth Site, gets summoned from your cemetery. So more of that recursion. This is just the recursion spam Deathspeaker. And Ben's doing the order right on the Sisters of Avalon, where you're supposed to discard before you draw. So he decides that he wants to move the Fruit Spiders forward instead, sort of inching them towards the Pudge Butcher. Though, you know, the real problem with Avatar of Air is everything gets flown around all over the place. And there it is. He's about to drop. He just saw Ben pondering dropping a Gargantula. So he Gargantulas Percival into a little disabled cocoon. Gargantula 4 power for 4 cost, 3 Earth threshold. That when you play it, it basically, I think what it says is it picks up, or no, it pulls in, drags an adjacent minion here, disabling it in a cocoon until a unit at its location taps to free it. So but now I think Ben has just realized that he had his count wrong on everything and is playing out a totally different sequence, but there's been no new information revealed so far, so it's pretty chill to do it. No one's had to make any decisions. So yeah, he goes double Shield Maidens now, and this is why you gotta start running Cave-In, counters Ward, and clear that double stack of Shield Maidens. So yeah, this is where we landed. Pretty solid wall starting to be built by Ben over there, but Griff's got 3 very powerful minions on the board. The Legion of Gaul could be defeated by the Land Surveyor with 2 Shield Maidens if all 3 block, and would only be able to kill 1 of the Shield Maidens. So that's pretty cool. I just caught a glimpse of Griff's hand. I see a Chaos Twister and a Black Plague in there. So Black Plague would be so tempting. You drop the Black Plague where the Shield Maidens and the Land Surveyors are. It starts clearing them out one by one, but at the same time, it's and yeah, now they're just sort of talking about their cards a little. The downside to doing the Black Plague move that Griff's probably considering is that is going to sort of start re-summoning the Scourge Zombies and killing minions for Deathspeaker. It feels like you're almost giving them resources, but at the same time, Griff knows that at any time Ben could crack the Silver Bullet for Divine Healing. Okay, so we finally decided on our play. Griff goes in with the kettle top. We're going to see the double block. Nothing should die because shield maidens. So that was incorrect. But so it goes. Because both of the damage would have been prevented. Snags the land surveyor. But now the Gaul can hit the perilous bridge and he can't block for enough to stop it. So that's 5 to bend the Deathspeaker, and Griff has not played a card yet. Oh man, is he? Yeah, so he goes for the Black Plague, kills one of the shield maidens, plays a sight, got a windmill now, so super solid on all the threshold in the world. And yeah, onward he goes. So he moves the shield maiden out of range of the black page. And attacks in with the Scourge zombie for 2. I mean, the Pudge can easily kill the zombie, but who cares, right? When you're just going to keep clearing things. And there's our Jaro Exorcist in there. So yeah, these guys are thinking hard. We can see Ben's got the Gargantula, our Jarho Exorcist. I always pronounce that one wrong. Arajo. Our Jaro. Our Jaro Exorcist. Yeah. Uses the Exorcist to clear the Legion of Gaul because it can banish a demon, spirit, or aura. So that's pretty nice. And then plays a Grandmaster Wizard. So now the Deathspeaker is really kicking into gear. Also kind of retroactively threw out a Torchhammer Trinket on the Scourge Zombie. He had an extra mana from the tower, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana per turn. He spent 8. So passes turn. He spent 9. He spent all 9 of its mana. And Griff drawing a card. It's like the So he fudges the Scourge Zombie after sort of discussing that he knows our Jarho Archivist will bring the zombie back. But it's all kind of keeping the Black Plague around. Drops another Legion of Gaul. Oh, and now he can hit the Divine Healing. definitely got to take that out. Yeah, Whirling Blades and Divine Healing. Not even joking. Griff says he's got 2 more Legions of Gaul in his deck. Taps for a sight. Well, this game is kind of stalled out a little. Neither player's got anything really going yet. Looks like Ben forgot to bring his Scourge Zombie back. We'll see if he remembers that in a minute here. And the Deathspeaker is really kicking into gear, but Avatar of Air hasn't really spent that many cards. So yeah, now they're remembering the Scourge Zombies. And the Archive or the Exorcist could easily be used to clear the Black Plague, but he steps his zombie out of the way. That makes sense. Let the Black Plague die on its own. Pretty reasonable tactic there. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, like, Griff's getting a little stuck on his back row and wants to be putting some aggression on. Looks like Deathspeaker drew a sight for turn. Yeah, I think if I was the Avatar of Air, I might have tried to move my Avatar of Air over and start flying Pudge forward. Just to try and get the Pudge where it could. With Avatar of Air, you can kind of fly Pudge onto your opponent's sights, and then it can just attack their sights. So there, we have an Apprentice Wizard and a regular Apprentice Wizard, both played into the Black Plague. I think that makes some sense because of that whole Pudge Butcher scenario I was mentioning, like keeping the Black Plague around to try and threaten the minions. Oh, Griff hits the toolbox to run Displace, move his Black Plague, now allowing him to kill the Root Spider before the Root Spider is ever able to use the before Root Spider can use the Silver Bullet. And yeah, I think Ben's questioning some of his choices, but they're moving forward. Plays a Pebbled Path. Kills the non-Kitty Cat Wizard, leaves the Apprentice Wizard on the board. Drops the Highland Falconer, another classic Avatar of Air card. And passes turn. Gets the Plague. Hits the Plague hits the Root Spider, and so Percival is now free until another Root Spider comes around, which, with all the card draw Ben's been doing, might not be unlikely, and we know he's got a Gargantula as well. So we'll see what Ben can pull out here. This has been a convoluted game with not, many turns and not a lot of progress. Oh, what? He has the sight, and he craterizes with the Deathspeaker. Wow. No one saw that coming. So, that's cool. No one expects a craterize out of a Deathspeaker. It's not no one. People expect it. Yes, the downside is you can't recast it, but you can swing in for 1 chip damage. But if Griff has door damage on board if Deathspeaker doesn't do something to prevent it. So we see Ben sort of evaluating how to prevent that. Puts the cemetery rats where... Oh, the Hexam Haunt goes in the graveyard. Like, all this graveyard recursion is just wild. So Griff's got if Griff can answer the cemetery rats and sneak in another damage, he's so close to having lethal. He could fly the Avatar of Air forward pretty easily. Oh no, but he can't because he's not on a site. He's on a rubble now, so he can't even fly his Avatar of Air and try and reposition for a move. So, I mean, a Whirling Blades right now would be quite good. So we just hit time, so now they're on to turn count. So we're doing 5 turns of turn count in this event. So this is turn 0. If by the end of turn 5 there's not a winner, I think the usual way we do it is if exactly one person's at death door, then the other person wins. Otherwise, it's a draw if both are either on door or not on door. He draws a sight. He does not get the sight he needs. Plays it over there. That's interesting. I think he was hoping for an air sight, but no. So he's casting Chaos Twister on the Cemetery Rats, which will do nothing if they hit. Okay, so they just kill themselves. So now he's got 9 damage on board that can't be blocked. He needs 1 more. Oh, and he's got the grapple shot in hand. He wants to save for the kill. I think Griff might have just realized he did a miscalculation. And so he does it. He grapple shots for door. So, won the race to door. But is he going to have the damage spell in hand? I only saw one of the 2 cards in hand. Well, the only card I saw was the grapple shot. So he's Jack the Ripper's Percival. He's got a lot of blockers, but if there's another grapple shot in Griff's hand, it'll be quite difficult to stop. Or Whirling Blades. Maybe I did see a Whirling Blades in there. I couldn't quite tell. So, Ben gets to free cast the Arjarho Exorcist out of the graveyard, clearing the demon after Jack the Ripper cleared the Percival. So it's a pretty empty board for Griff, but door, there are lots of ways to hit someone at door. So hear Ben talking about trying to get Griff to door as fast as he can. Makes a lot of sense. Does a land surveyor and a gargantula. He spent the Arjarho was free. Moves the wizard. Seems like a big mistake, because if the Avatar of Air can get itself into a line with Deathspeaker, he's got to run his Deathspeaker away. Yeah, here we go. He's gonna. I think moving the Deathspeaker onto the site with the other minions is a pretty standard move here, but I think this might be the last game of the event. So they're both, I'm sure, a little brain dead. But Griff doesn't look to have the kill move, so just drops a Dapple Vampire. Pretty good. There's no hard removal left for Ben. Oh, he draws the berry. And there's door. So moves his minions forward to get in range of trying to hit the kill. Drops the bodyguard. So that's got to be it. I mean, with the bodyguard out, I can't think of a spell that will be able to end the game for Griff. Ben drops another graveyard filler, and Griff draws a spell and says that ain't gonna do it. And I think seems pretty doomed to me. With the bodyguard out, you have to bury the bodyguard and get a lightning bolt. So he's hiding himself now. Plays another vampire, but this writing looks to be on the wall to me. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess Ben's not playing the toolbox zap combo, so it might be hard for him to hit the kill spell. So they're double door, turn 5. Oh, so this is going to be a draw. We've now hit turn 5. Oh, Ben's got the common sense. For a Hail Mary, just gotta have a lightning bolt, if not a zap. He's running zap in the main deck. Oh, what? So cool. He Wiccan Tools onto the Gargantula, cracks the Wiccan Tools, gives Gargantula Spellcaster, plays a ring onto the Gargantula, and then plays a Torshimmer Trinket with the Gargantula to trigger the ring and deal the 1 damage to get the death blow on turn 5. What a crazy game. I mean, that Deathspeaker deck is just wildness. Hope you keep enjoying all of the great content that comes out from Rose City Sorcery. Catch you next time.